Hey, what's up, guys? Little man with the big opinion here. I'm going to release another news related video today. Um, so, this will make video number 3 on the day, and I'll do my best to not do so many videos, but um, I read the news fairly often, and when I catch something that can allow me to elaborate on, give you guidance on what you can do as a prepper for if you ever got in a situation like that, to handle it, then I'll do that. So today's news related story involves a apartment complex in New York City that burned down. It tragically caused the death of, I believe it's up to 19 people now. But the last time I looked, it was definitely 17 people have lost their lives. And from what I read, it was caused by a faulty space heater. So people trying to stay warm, uh, and it ended in a fire. So as a prepper, what can you do in a situation like this? All buildings in the United States are required to have, the posted fire escape plan. All of them next to elevators say, if there's a fire, then use the stairs because the electricity could go out at any point and you'd be trapped inside the elevator. When you're in schools, you do a drill. They set it off. You all line up. The teacher takes roll to make sure, everyone's accountable, and you exit, said building. So I will do the first one. If you live in a house, whether you rent it or own it, it's a single family dwelling. Um, Everyone in your family needs to have um, gone through your fire escape plan. Um, it's a requirement for the fire safety merit badge and the emergency preparedness merit badge for the Boy Scouts of America. So when I did it for my house, well, at least 10 years ago at this point, uh, every room within that dwelling, if there is a fire and it looks like it can be put out with your fire extinguisher at your house and you can safely access that fire extinguisher, you attempt to put the fire out with your fire extinguisher. You make sure your smoke detectors and your carbon monoxide detectors are, up to date, and the batteries in them are good, because that is your early warning outside of seeing fire or seeing smoke. And that will allow you to determine if your fire extinguisher can put said fire out. After that, if you can't safely put the fire out, then you exit the building in the fastest and safest way possible. So if you can get to your front door, and that's your fastest, safest way, you go out your front door. If that's compromised, back door. If that's compromised, windows. If you have a 2-story and anything on the lower level is compromised, then they make really cool escape ladders that are built into the side of your house, or you have a rope ladder that you can just toss out of the window and get out that way. So, safely and calmly and the fastest way possible, exit the premises. After that, you do an accountability check. Uh, and then after that, and this is all happening fairly quickly, you call your emergency number or 911. So the people that have all of the fancy gear and the training can come and put out said fire. If you get outside and your accountability check finds that little Susie or mom or your family dog is still inside of the structure, uh, some people would say family is super important. I would make the argument, just for myself. I'm not advocating this for anyone else, but I for me, going in for a family member or a pet that I consider a family member, you execute that as safely as possible. It's a bit different in, a single family home versus a multiple story apartment complex. Um, if that is an issue for you, then you adjust your plan. You get your entire family uh, to meet in the safest room in said house, and then you exit as a unit. At that time, that's when you grab uh, your dog and fish or whatever, and you exit the building. But just like on an airplane, they say you know the adults put the mask on before you put the mask on for the children. Um, your biggest concern is your own physical safety. So if you're putting yourself in harm's way to save another family member, uh, then there's that possibility that the trained rescue personnel will now have to save two people instead of one. Uh, that's the same way that I was taught with lifeguarding. If there is a drowned victim in the pool and they're thrashing around and they're hitting you and there's a possibility of them pulling you under, you're taught to wait until they stop resisting you. And then you save them because you're putting yourself in harm's way. So that's the next thing is you get out of, harm's way, call the professionals, and you let insurance sort the rest out. Because outside of human life, everything is replaceable. The argument can be made that uh, you know great grandma's sewn quilt can't be replaceable, but everything is materialistic, and you can grieve after the fact that you are safe. Now, if you live in an apartment complex, something that's multi stories, several hundreds of people, it's going to be a bit more chaotic because everyone in that situation, just the more people you add to that situation, the less calm that it gets. It's a little bit different for schools because you have the teacher that can handle their 15, 20, 30 kids or whatever, and they can coordinate that. uh, but if, say, you have a 5-story apartment building and there's a family, there's 20 apartments on one floor, each of those families should have their own individual plan. But at no point when you move into an apartment complex, the management of that says, hey, here, like, they might do a test on their system to make sure it works, but they don't test it with every single person available to make sure that it fully functions. Because even, we did it in college, but some people are off in classes, some people are off in work, so they miss it. So if you have the ability, you're confident to talk with people and, meet with your neighbors, uh, not just for that, having a plan set. You also know that the person across the hall, they're an elderly lady with, a young child or whatever. So your accountability in that situation is you get out of the building and your family's there, but you're not seeing, you know, the older lady across the hall. When fire and police get there, you can explain, hey, everyone in apartment 15B got out, but 15A, I know there's this, lady, and I haven't seen her come out. So I don't know if she was not here, but it helps in the rescue operation. And if you've got the time, you can do that all the way down your apartment complex. If you're home and you have a checklist on your phone that you can say, the Adams are out, the Smiths are out, the Johnsons are out, then that's another way that you can help in the situation. But the biggest thing is after you've established your family escape plan or you've looked at the fire escape routes within your building, you need to practice it. So your entire family, you're sitting on the couch watching TV. Your go word could be, practice, practice, practice. And after, the head of the household or whoever's leading this practice scenario, when they say that, you go through the motions, because slow is smooth and smooth is fast. That's a saying that they told us in the Army. So after you've done it a couple of times, you're ingraining it inside of your head because it can be a stressful situation. And if you've established the route that you take, exactly what you do, then in the stressful situation, you can act upon that level of training and you're not going to be slower when it actually comes time to execute that plan, in a life or death situation. But other than that, other like general fire safety tips is, if you see smoke coming out from under the door, you put a towel there to try to, keep it isolated to that area. You do, light taps, or if you have any type of water to test the door handle, or putting the back of your hand to the door. That way you don't cause a flash fire with that influx of oxygen. Uh, it can be a difference in, hurting yourself, causing death, or getting you, yourself, your family, and the other people in that household out. If you frequently have friends or family that come over, whether it's for holidays, poker night with the boys, or whatever, let them know what your game plan is as well, because an accident doesn't wait for just your family to happen. It could happen, during the family Christmas party, or the boys poker night, or Sunday night football. And with that, what would you add to this? I think it's a pretty solid list and take on this. But if there's anything else you would change, then let me know in the comment section down below. I guess the most controversial part about this is, if you had a family member that was trapped in a, dangerous situation, are you putting yourself on the line to also try to help them? Are you going to, sit through precious minutes until someone, I'm not saying that you're not qualified to do it, but they've got the gear and maybe you don't. How would you handle this situation? I told y'all my stance. Everything in my house, pet wise and family wise, is family. And the reason why I'm a prepper is I want to take care of myself and my loved ones. And if that means putting myself on the line, then in certain situations, you as an individual have to make, that choice for yourself. But with that, if you found this information useful, then like the video. If you like what I'm doing with the channel, then subscribe and hit the bell notification, because you never know when I'm going to release a video, and that'll keep you up to date with the knowledge that I'm passing on. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one.